Once, in a forgotten attic of an old Victorian mansion, a dusty box lay hidden beneath layers of cobwebs and forgotten memories. Inside that box, nestled amongst moth-eaten fabric, was a doll. Its porcelain face was cracked, its once vibrant blue eyes now faded and lifeless. This doll held a dark secret, a curse that would unleash unimaginable terror upon anyone who dared to possess it. The doll's name was Charlotte, and she had been crafted with love by a grieving mother, Mrs. Evelyn Hartley. Mrs. Hartley had lost her only daughter, Charlotte, in a tragic accident. Consumed by grief, she poured her sorrow into creating the doll, hoping to keep her daughter's spirit close. But something went terribly wrong. As the doll was completed, a sinister presence seeped into its delicate form. The spirit of a vengeful entity, known as the Shadow Weaver, latched onto Charlotte, corrupting her innocent essence. From that moment on, the doll became a conduit for darkness, a harbinger of doom. Years later, the mansion was sold to a young couple, Sarah and David. They were drawn to the house's charm and history, unaware of the malevolent force that awaited them. On their first night, Sarah discovered the dusty box in the attic and, captivated by its antique allure, brought the doll down to display in their living room. That night, as the couple slept, a soft whisper filled the air. Sarah stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She saw Charlotte, the haunted doll, standing at the foot of their bed. Its cracked lips curled into a sinister smile, and its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. Terrified, Sarah tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. The room grew colder, and the shadows danced with an unnatural energy. The doll's voice, a chilling blend of innocence and malice, filled the room. "You have awakened me, Sarah. Prepare for the horrors that await." From that night on, the couple's lives descended into a nightmare. Strange occurrences plagued their home. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed through the halls, and the air grew thick with an oppressive presence. Sarah and David's once loving relationship crumbled under the weight of fear and paranoia. Desperate for answers, Sarah sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator, Dr. Samuel Grant. Together, they delved into the history of the doll, uncovering the tragic tale of Mrs. Hartley and her ill-fated creation. Dr. Grant warned Sarah of the Shadow Weaver's power, explaining that it fed on fear and despair, growing stronger with each victim it claimed. Determined to break the curse, Sarah and Dr. Grant devised a plan. They would confront the Shadow Weaver head-on, using a combination of ancient rituals and powerful incantations. But they knew the battle would not be easy, for the entity thrived on chaos and darkness. As the night of the confrontation arrived, Sarah and Dr. Grant stood before the doll, their hearts pounding with trepidation. The room grew still, and the doll's eyes glowed with an unholy intensity. The Shadow Weaver's voice filled the air, a cacophony of whispers that sent shivers down their spines. But Sarah refused to succumb to fear. With every ounce of her strength, she recited the incantation, her voice unwavering. The room trembled, and the doll convulsed, its porcelain form cracking further. The Shadow Weaver fought back, unleashing a torrent of malevolent energy. In a final act of defiance, Sarah shattered the doll, breaking the curse that had plagued their lives. The room fell silent, and the oppressive presence dissipated. The couple breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they had triumphed over the darkness. But as they turned to leave, a faint In a small, secluded town nestled deep within the woods, there stood an old, dilapidated house. Legend had it that the house was cursed, haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Evelyn. The townsfolk whispered tales of her tragic demise and the eerie presence that lingered within the house. But it was the doll, Evelyn's doll, that held the true horror. The doll, with its porcelain face and glassy eyes, had been a cherished possession of Evelyn's. It was said that she had poured her heart and soul into the doll, imbuing it with her innocent spirit. But when Evelyn met a gruesome end, her spirit became trapped within the doll, forever cursed to wander the halls of the house. Years later, a curious collector named Samuel stumbled upon the house. Drawn to its dark history, he ventured inside, unaware of the malevolent force that awaited him. As he explored the decaying rooms, he discovered the doll hidden away in a forgotten corner. Intrigued by its haunting beauty, Samuel decided to take the doll home, unaware of the terror that would soon consume his life. That night, as he slept, a soft whisper filled the air. Samuel stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He saw the doll, Evelyn's doll, standing at the foot of his bed. Its glassy eyes seemed to pierce his soul, and a sinister smile curled upon its porcelain lips. Terrified, Samuel tried to scream, but no sound escaped his lips. The room grew colder, and the shadows danced with an otherworldly energy. The doll's voice, a chilling blend of innocence and malice, filled the room. "You have awakened me, Samuel. Prepare for the horrors that await." From that night on, Samuel's life descended into a waking nightmare. The doll's presence permeated every corner of his existence. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed through the halls, and the air grew thick with an oppressive darkness. Samuel's once peaceful home became a prison of fear and despair. Desperate for answers, Samuel sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator, Dr. Elizabeth Morgan. Together, they delved into the history of the doll, uncovering the tragic tale of Evelyn's demise. Dr. Morgan warned Samuel of the doll's malevolent power, explaining that it fed on the fear and anguish of its victims, growing stronger with each soul it claimed. Determined to break the curse, Samuel and Dr. Morgan devised a plan. They would confront the doll head-on, using a combination of ancient rituals and powerful incantations. But they knew the battle would not be easy, for the doll held the essence of a tormented spirit. As the night of the confrontation arrived, Samuel and Dr. Morgan stood before the doll, their hearts pounding with trepidation. The room grew still, and the doll's glassy eyes seemed to glow with an unholy light. The spirit of Evelyn, trapped within the doll, unleashed a torrent of malevolent energy. But Samuel refused to succumb to fear. With every ounce of his strength, he recited the incantation, his voice unwavering. The room trembled and the doll convulsed, its porcelain form cracking under the strain. The spirit of Evelyn fought back, desperate to maintain its hold. In a final act of defiance, Samuel shattered the doll, breaking the curse that had plagued his life. The room fell silent, and the oppressive presence dissipated. Samuel and Dr. Morgan breathed a sigh of relief, knowing they had triumphed over the darkness. But as they turned to leave, a faint whisper filled the air. It was the voice of Evelyn, a haunting reminder that some curses can never truly be broken. Samuel and Dr. Morgan exchanged a knowing glance, understanding that the doll's malevolent spirit would forever haunt their memories. Once upon a time, in a small, forgotten town, there lived a young girl named Emily. She was a lonely child, often left to her own devices in the old, creaking house she called home. One day, while exploring the attic, Emily stumbled upon a dusty, forgotten doll. The doll had porcelain skin, with eyes that seemed to follow Emily's every move. Its painted lips curled into a sinister smile, and its once vibrant dress was now tattered and stained. Ignoring the eerie feeling that washed over her, Emily decided to keep the doll as her companion. From the moment the doll entered Emily's life, strange occurrences began to unfold. At first, it was subtle. Objects moved on their own, whispers echoed through the halls, and shadows danced in the corners of Emily's vision. But as time went on, the doll's malevolent presence grew stronger. Emily's nights became filled with nightmares, vivid and terrifying. she would wake up in a cold sweat, the doll's glassy eyes staring at her from across the room. The once comforting darkness of her bedroom now held a sinister energy, as if something unseen lurked in the shadows. As the days turned into weeks, Emily's health began to deteriorate. She grew pale and weak, her once vibrant spirit fading away. Her parents, concerned for their daughter's well-being, sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator named Dr. Harper. Dr. Harper arrived at the house armed with an array of equipment and a determination to uncover the truth. As he delved into the history of the doll, he discovered a dark secret. The doll had once belonged to a vengeful spirit named Abigail, who had perished in the very house Emily now called home. Driven by a desire to save Emily, Dr. Harper devised a plan to rid the house of the doll's curse. He gathered a group of spiritual mediums and performed a ritual, hoping to banish Abigail's spirit from the doll and free Emily from its clutches. But as the ritual commenced, a malevolent force surged through the house. The walls shook, and the air grew thick with an oppressive darkness. The mediums' voices trembled as they fought against the powerful presence that threatened to consume them. Suddenly, the doll's eyes glowed with an unholy light, and a chilling laughter filled the room. Abigail's spirit had grown stronger, feeding off the fear and desperation of those who sought to banish her. She would not be so easily defeated. One by one, the mediums fell to the ground, their bodies racked with pain. Dr. Harper, determined to save Emily, pushed forward, reciting ancient incantations with unwavering resolve. The room trembled, and the doll convulsed, its porcelain form cracking under the strain. In a final act of defiance, Dr. Harper shattered the doll, breaking the curse that had plagued Emily's life. The room fell silent, and a sense of relief washed over them. Emily's health slowly began to improve, and the house regained a sense of peace. But as they turned to leave, a faint whisper filled the air. It was the voice of Abigail, a haunting reminder that some curses can never truly be broken. Emily and Dr. Harper exchanged a knowing glance, understanding that the doll's malevolent spirit would forever haunt their memories. Years later, Emily, now grown, decided to share her story with the world. She created a channel dedicated to exploring the supernatural, hoping to warn others of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. And though the doll was destroyed, its presence still lingered, a chilling reminder that some horrors can never truly be forgotten. So, dear listeners, beware of the haunted doll that may cross your path. Stay tuned to our channel for more bone-chilling tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat.